And thank you so much for reminding me that I have to follow the path late Asma Jahangir taught us to follow. And especially wearing this cap of Minister for Human Rights is a responsibility which is difficult to digest in a way, the manner we are living in this part of world. The Honorable Chief Guest, Justice Mansoor Ali Shah, Senior Pune Judge of Supreme Court of Pakistan, my learned colleagues from the Bar Councils, Bar Associations, Excellencies, I can see so many familiar faces, people traveling from different destinations. My colleague, Bonsa, when you were mentioning the parliamentarians, Manaz Appa, you forgot Manaz Akbar. She served as Parliamentary Secretary for Law and Justice and did wonders in the ministry, I must acknowledge. My colleagues from the bar, the senior leadership, the former presidents and the vice chairman of Pakistan Bar Council. Let me introduce first that I am not a guest speaker, I am also a co-host, myself and Bhoon Saab being the part of, rather the founding members of Asma Jahangir Foundation. We always love to welcome all of you. And I must appreciate and congratulate the organizers, Asma Jahangir, AGHS, which is a firm which was actually established by late Asma Jahangir, Supreme Court Bar Association and Pakistan Bar Council, two apex bodies of lawyers, elected bodies of lawyers in Pakistan, for providing us an opportunity to assemble here every year and to freely and openly discuss those issues which normally are kept under the carpets in these parts of the world. And we never want to discuss sometimes. Saroop Ejaz was absolutely right that this is a place where we can talk for dissent, we can listen to the different voices. As late Asma Jahangir always said that you should be voice of voiceless. You should plead the cases of those who can't plead their cases. You should try to be protectors of those who don't have any shield around them. And this is what we learned from her. Serve the community in a way she has been serving. Every one of us know that she left for eternity in 2018 and left behind a void actually in this field which I have serious doubts it would take time to be filled in Pakistan. We have been listening to the honorable speakers. I decided actually to dedicate my time to honorable chief guest because we are already lagging behind the schedule. But then since few things have been said from this forum, and as I said that I'm wearing two caps, I am also representing the government, so better to quickly go through few of the areas which have been discussed here by the honorable speakers, the excellencies. Starting from the issues of human rights or conditions of human rights in my country, let me assure all of you that the government is committed to fulfill its constitutional and international obligations by creating an atmosphere where the rights of the people of Pakistan and every person on this land are protected in that scheme of things. All of us are very well aware of the geological position of our country and the surrounding circumstances. We have been a frontline state for an imposed war for more than 40 years, which was fought in our neighboring country, which also actually paved ways for internal disturbances. We have been facing the wrath of terrorism for decades and decades. And in such conditions, conceiving or actually idealizing certain things which practically are not possible is of course, it's one of the the factors why we have been facing problems in the enforcement of rights of people. Another, of course, onslaught is the internal extremist behaviors which were actually developed over the years as a consequence of that war against terror, or as I said, it was a campaign, or the terrorism was unleashed in this area. As these problems erupted and evolved by year and a year, it's a 40 years span of time, I would say, it would also take time to rectify all these things. But let me assure the government's commitment, Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, while allocating portfolios to his cabinet a month before, asked me to accept additional charge of Ministry of Human Rights. And the friends and the colleagues who know me, we have been working together for more than 30 years, can well imagine the intentions of government if the choice of Prime Minister for this portfolio was me. I reiterate my conviction and my dedication for this field, and will try to deliver to the best of my abilities. Certain things have been said regarding the closure of or some curbs on the social media. Every one of us know that it's not only here in Pakistan we are facing the problems. Freedom of expression is very close to my heart as well as the government's priorities. But my constitution and many other constitutions in the world also impose certain reasonable limitations. I would not say restrictions on the freedom of expression. And we have been reading out, we have been watching tallies, we have been hearing news is that there are issues erupted regarding the use of social media and the responsibilities of social media platforms. Even the countries like Australia, United States, Canada, even the European countries, many of my excellencies, the ambassadors are here, they also formulated their regulations, how to protect the digital rights and how to protect the people, or how to actually restrict the misuse when it transgresses the limits. The previous government constituted a committee. We have been in consultation with all stakeholders, including the social media platforms, the companies like the Meta, the Google and all others. We have been listening to them, and we formulated a policy which was acceptable to the 95% to all stakeholders, but then the caretakers came in. Of course, they could not have legislated. The work has been actually restarted, I would say, and in near future, we'll be having some kind of consensus and introducing certain policy guidelines for that. So these complaints of closure, or there is a tug of war for removal of certain objectionable content on the media, things which are acceptable to all countries in the world and are in vogue. Certain things have also been said about the conduct of election. Of course, it was the mandate of the Election Commission of Pakistan and the caretakers, and we being one of the parties contesting the election. Well, everyone has a right to object to or criticize, and by and large, not only here in different parts of the world, including the United States of America, the conduct of election has been under criticism. And I think it's the beauty of democracy as well. Everyone has a right to raise finger and say that the procedure at that specific juncture was not transparent, was not fair. But for that, where there is a wrong, there is a remedy. The law provides for filing of petitions, appeals, which have now been filed by the aggrieved party. My own partymen, where they felt, they also went into appeals and petitions. And we believe that we are having a very robust and independent judiciary. They have proved through their own conduct, through their judgments, although, as Bhoon Saab and President Supreme Court Bar rightly pointed out, that we have seen a trend where the judicial decisions were swayed by kind of the popular slogans or or the popular trends, which should not be, because the justice should be justice should be done in a way as the law requires and within the bounds of law. We must acknowledge and appreciate the recent Supreme Court judgments, especially while announcing judgment on Practice and Procedure Act, which was to, I would say, by one segment of people were criticizing it, that as it is kind of limiting the powers of Chief Justice amounts to interference in the judiciary, but a full court of Supreme Court handed down a landmark judgment diluting the powers of Chief Justice of Pakistan in the suo motu matters, or I would say the original jurisdiction matters for constitution of benches and placing and how to actually deal with the cases. The Supreme Court of Pakistan has also acknowledged the domain and authority of the Parliament to legislate laws, which exclusively rest with the Parliament. And we believe that even in the future, the courts would also rectify the wrongs which have been committed on the judicial side during the past years. Another issue which was raised was about the missing persons. As I said, but nothing should be kept under the carpet. This issue also is very closely connected with Afghan war things and a history of terrorism spanning over 40 years, at least in Pakistan. We firmly believe that this issue has to be resolved through political dialogue and consensus and through some legislative instruments. For that matter, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif, during his previous regime constituted a committee. I was convener of that committee. We held several meetings with the political forces, with indigenous groups, with communities. We even went to the places where actually the people had been raising their voices that their loved ones are not traceable. We actually scanned through the proceedings of the commission constituted by Supreme Court of Pakistan back in 2012, and we to some extent we were satisfied that 70–80% cases had already been dealt with, and the results were quite positive, but still this is an issue which needs to be settled and resolved through political dialogue and consensus. The Prime Minister has again directed to reconstitute that committee, and all political forces and political parties, including some opposition members, would be included in that party, and we would be coming up with some concrete solution, including some legislative framework. And before I beg leave, because it's already 15 minutes past 1, we were supposed to conclude this session by 1 o'clock. I expect that Honorable Chief Guest will have reasonable time to speak from heart and share his thoughts. Justice Shah is also a well-known rights activist when he was member of the bar, and even while sitting at the bench, he authored some absolutely, I would say, extremely, the judgment which actually talk about the rights of people. Doing justice with the environment is also one of the area where Justice Shah has been absolutely outstanding. And once again, thank you so much, the organizers, the honorable guest, for joining us for this occasion. Thank you so much, and Khuda Hafiz ji.